This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
Right. Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Boom, bam, bam, boom.
Get a posse, that's right. Good morning. Nice to see you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Almost made that really long one again. Welcome back to Lorne Michaels Will Hate This SNL podcast. I am, of course, your host, Stevie Blaze, and as always is my lovely co-host, the Lady Jen, getting ready to do the late night Saturday Night Live.
Very late for us.
Very late. Anyways, one of these times I'm going to have you do the This is a Dragon Blazer. I used to do that all the time, where I would have my co-host do the Hey. I'm guessing that's your husband. Hello. Just randomly see a finger there. Angles are interesting.
Sorry.
Anyways, yeah, traditionally I would have someone do the This is a Dragon Blazer production. It would normally be my co-host of the podcast I'm doing. I'm sure you probably have no idea what that jingle is. At the very beginning, the Live from New York, the little dragon there.
Oh, okay.
So the person I got, oh man, I'm so upset with myself. You know what we need to do is we need to have Megan Claire Murphy come back and have her do that line. Because the one
That's
that I
so much better than me doing it.
So the one I have that I have right there was the little boogeyman. He's a wrestler that I actually got to interview on the show that was in WWE.
I thought it was just you. I totally
No.
was like, why is he calling himself the little boogeyman? I don't understand this at all.
No, me and my brother interviewed a wrestler named the Little Boogeyman. His real name's Chris Hollyfield, and we got to have him come on the show and do. This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the Little Boogeyman. So that's actually an actual wrestler that was on WWE that I got to. So when I don't
I know.
When I don't have someone else do the jingle, that's what I normally use, just because, I mean, he is a celebrity.
Yeah, we should totally have her back, though. She was
we should have her do it. Yeah. I would like to, but I'm trying not to make it. I mean, unless she wants to just become our co-host. I see She seems to be busy doing a bunch of podcasts. I didn't want to bring her back like too quickly.
She can come back anytime she wants.
Absolutely.
The more the merrier. If you're watching, you're welcome.
Anytime. Anyway, so today we are going to be watching the December 22nd, 1975 episode that starred Lily Tomlin. This is the 6th episode of Saturday Night Live.
Wait, are you sure?
Am I sure what?
About the date. Because I thought she said...
Oh, November 22nd. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I said the wrong month. It's November 22nd, 1975. Thanks for correcting me.
No, that's okay.
But before we get into the Saturday Night Live episode, we actually do have a new number one song.
What's our new number one song?
It actually isn't Island Girl anymore. It is this song. Let's see if you recognize it. the way I like it. That's the way I like it. That's the way That's the way I like it.
All right, they got our mad dance skills on there.
The very not so rare dancing of white people to Casey and the Sunshine Band. Casey and
I
the
did
Sunshine
the Andy
Band.
Kaufman impression. Did you see? I sang.
You lip sync the whole thing,
Yeah, because if I sang it, everyone would.
Anyways, that's
ears.
the way I like it by Casey and the Sunshine Band. I actually kind of forgot to look up the details on this, but this came
That's okay.
out.
We were entertaining enough.
That's right. That's right.
And plus, if it's the number one next week, you'll have stuff to talk about.
Sure. You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. The number one movie. See if you can guess this. This movie stars a very young Jack Nicholson. Very young.
A clue.
Does the name Nurse Ratched do anything for you? No.
No.
It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
This movie's about. It says.
Have you?
I have not actually.
Okay.
I know of it. I know Jack Nicholson is it. He's a young person. I guess he. And then Nurse Ratched is like this evil nurse or something. In fact, here's a synopsis. McMurphy has a criminal past and has once again gotten himself into trouble and is sentenced by the court. To escape labor duties in prison, McMurphy pleads insanity and is sent to a ward for the mentally unstable. Once here, McMurphy both endures and stands witness to the abuse and degradation of the oppressive Nurse Ratched, who gains superiority and power through the flaws of the other inmates. McMurphy and the other inmates band together to make a rebellious stance against the atrocious nurse. Yeah, this is a very famous movie, but I've never seen it.
Me either.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it sometime. But this was the number one movie. This overtook Dog Day Afternoon. But very famous movie. I believe it's a Hitchcock movie, but I could be wrong.
I thought when you said it, it sounded like it was, but I also could be wrong.
I was thinking it was one of those major directors that does it. In fact, we're going to do a quick look-see here. It is director Milos Forman. Never mind. I guess it's just a famous Jack Nicholson movie. He was a young man. All right, and the other thing I found, which will kind of come back to this, actually, because this kind of gets brought up during Weekend Update, but Juan Carlos is proclaimed the King of Spain as monarchy is restored after 31 years.
Oh.
Happened on this day. But there's more to that story, and we'll get to that later. So are you ready to get started on Lily Tomlin, November 22nd?
Yeah.
All right. So we get cold open, and at least they are acknowledging that he sucks at this impression. I did like this one slightly better than the last time he played Gerald Ford.
I also thought this one was funnier.
And I couldn't help but think that the phone stuff may be very confusing for younger audiences, or will be very soon.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. What is those? With cords? What?
Right? And they might totally miss the, he hung up the wrong phone.
Yeah. Then grab the glass of water as a phone. I thought it was funny. It was decent.
I thought the water part was dumb, but I thought, the mixing up the phones was funny.
Yeah. And then having the phones talk to each other.
Yes, I was just thinking having the phones talk to each other.
That's another thing that's going to be confusing for kids. Like, why did he flip them like that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, because talking is up here, the listening's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing I'm going to say, So we get the Lily Tomlin stand-up / monologue. I didn't find it very funny or the song. I'm going to be honest with you. I liked Lily Tomlin in some of the sketches, some of them. I did not care for her solo stuff.
I enjoyed it. Like, I thought her stand-up was funny. I thought the tops of the feet needing a name. I was like, oh, they don't have a name.
Okay.
You're last in line and somebody gets behind you and you're just like, oh yes. It makes me feel so much better. She's 100% right. Yeah.
Okay. She had some good points, I guess. I just didn't find it very funny.
The crazy couples I laughed at.
I don't know.
That's dumb though.
I just found it weird that they kept having her sing so much in this episode.
She did sing a lot.
She did, and
she was like the musical guest.
I mean, kinda, yeah. Next we have the Beethoven sketch, which I thought was quick and cute. I do know, I'm sure. Are you aware that Beethoven was deaf?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, he was deaf, so him not hearing her was kind of funny. Those were the notes I have for this one.
I enjoyed the piano playing I wrote.
Yeah. I'll just say this.
He's not playing the piano, right? That's not him.
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't know. Probably not. But you know, you never know. He might know the piano. But I know he does some music. He does quite a few musical impressions, so maybe. I will say that, and we'll get to them as they go. I thought this sketch coming back 3 times got better every single time.
Yes.
The first one's
built up.
Yeah, and that's what you want, right?
Yes.
Then we get Howard Shore and his all-nurse band. First off, I did not know who Howard Shore was.
No idea.
Well, here's some fun facts.
Oh, fun facts.
He's more famous as a composer. And here's why he was here. Number one, he did all the Lord of the Rings movies, the Hobbit movies. He composed all the music from those movies.
Oh, really?
So he's a famous musical composer. And he's the one that composed and created
his name again?
Howard Shore.
Okay.
And he is the person that composed and created the opening and ending theme song to Saturday Night Live. So the music we're hearing, so he is like, right now, he is the official Saturday Night Live composer.
Oh, that's so cool. I had no idea.
So that's why he wasn't really a musical guest. He was already there.
Right.
As someone employed there. The song they sang was the St. James Infirmary. It's an old jazz song from 1928. It's been sung by many artists, covered by many, many artists.
I enjoyed the music. I thought it was really good.
And it's talking about the St. James Hospital in London.
Okay.
I thought, so the first time in her sketch, her intro, her song at the beginning, I didn't find it super great. I did find that I thought she sang this very well.
Yes.
I thought she sang this very, very well. Then we get a try-opening commercial again.
I know.
Again.
I was just talking, my husband watched the episode with me, and I was like, oh, it's another, like, this commercial again. He's like, it's the same commercial? And I was like, yeah. And then I told him about how they even repeated the same skit 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Get some new material, people.
I will assure you this doesn't happen that like that these days.
That's what he said.
Every once in a while, sure. But for the most part, this is an early show thing. I'm guessing
because it's not great. But I loved what's next.
Land Shark.
I was even like, is this land sharks again? And my son was with me, and he's like, hey, I know this.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
I put, this is great. Better than the first one, I thought.
Yes.
And I loved the first one.
Yes.
I really loved Dan Aykroyd talking to the shark.
Yes.
So what are we going to do? Get a posse? Yeah, that's right. Let's
My
get a
son was
posse.
like, he doesn't see the shark. It was great.
Get a posse.
Yes.
This may be blasphemy, but I think this is the best thing that Chevy Chase does.
Yes.
Because, you know, Chevy Chase is the voice of the shark. Chevy Chase does the shark.
It's definitely the only thing he's done that's made me laugh.
This is also, I thought the end was fun. I loved how they started trying to say that the ending was too long, so we got to just cut the skit. All to trick Lily Tomlin. I thought this was great. This was great.
Yes.
I also found it interesting that they've done this sketch both times when a woman hosts. Because the first time they did this sketch was Candace Bergen, and now Lily Tomlin comes along two weeks later, and they do it again.
I did not catch that, but let's see if they do it again.
I wonder if they'll do it again next time we get a woman host.
Let's check the trend.
I'm not sure. Well, the next time would be Candace Bergen again. She'll be, because they even announced that on the show. Because we get Richard Pryor next,
which I thought was a weird time to announce it, but whatever. It's like, why wouldn't you announce that at the end?
Yeah, they did something similar to the last time too. They've done this before. Next we have the Chevy Chase Bellboy sketch.
He's funny.
Huh?
He's still not funny.
This was interesting. Progressive. It was progressive. I mean, it was clear. I was like, apparently the character is supposed to be nervous because she's with a black man, is what I was assuming. But yeah, it was fine. Not as good as Land Shark.
No.
Next sketch.
Land Shark. The bar was too high.
Right. Next thing we get is Edith Ann. Apparently, this is a character that Tomlin does a lot. I guess I should also point out that Lily Tomlin, at this time, she's actually the first host we've gotten that is has already done sketch comedy before. So,
okay.
So she was on Laugh-In. She was on Laugh-In in the 70s, early 70s.
Okay. I know of Laugh-In.
So this is a character she did in Laugh-In, and also on Sesame Street a lot. I guess she did this Edith Ann character, like the little precocious 5-year-old character. She did this on Sesame Street as well.
Okay.
I guess apparently one of Lorne's original ideas of Saturday Night Live was to have Lily Tomlin, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and I forget who the fourth one was, but they're all people that hosted early. His original idea was that they were going to rotate hosting. Like his original plan wasn't to have like a new guest host every time. His original plan was these guys were going to be contracted to be the host, and they would rotate hosting duties. Then George Carlin kind of backed out because he wasn't interested in doing the sketches. I guess Lily Tomlin was more up for it. Richard Pryor, I guess there's stories about him. We'll probably find those out in the next episode.
Yay, I'm looking forward to it.
But Lily Tomlin, I guess she was like really close friends with Lorne Michaels. They worked together in Canada, I think. So they actually knew each other and everything. So yeah, she was originally supposed to be one of the regular hosts, and then it all fell apart. And then we got what Saturday Night Live is, which takes turns with the host. It might have been Candace Bergen was the other one. I'm not sure.
Maybe because she did do twice.
She does come back twice. Next, we get Beethoven the Return. And I put in my notes, look, it's a silly premise, but I'm down hearing Belushi as Beethoven with a German accent singing My Girl.
Right?
Und my girl.
It was funny.
It's a silly premise, but I enjoyed it.
I agree.
Next, we get Gilda telling everybody that we will be back.
And Richard Pryor's next episode.
And that Richard Pryor's the next episode. And they even announced that that she will be the Christmas episode. Candace Bergen will be the host. So she announced both of those.
So I have a weekend update question. Weekend
update.
All right.
Question.
Why do they keep making jokes about the Secret Service tackling weird things? Is there like some historical thing we don't know about?
I think it's just mostly
it's like the second week in a row they were like
he said it. He said it almost every time.
Yeah.
It's just because it's well known that if anybody comes close to the president, if you get close, if you are perceived as a danger, the Secret Service will take you down and keep the.
I was hoping there was some story like they took down some old person, some child.
It's mostly just a joke.
Okay.
Because it's the Secret Service's job to protect the president at all costs. So it's just a joke that they will take you down. So he's just making a joke that they take down literally anything perceived as a threat, including a fork. He doesn't do anything with the on the call thing this time. The salad fork joke you just mentioned is just a continuation of Ford is clumsy. Next, we get a joke about Ronald Reagan. Reagan announced his candidacy, but he ends up on this year, but he ends up losing to Jimmy Carter. So Jimmy Carter becomes the president in 1976. It was Ronald Reagan versus Jimmy Carter. Ronald Reagan, I believe, was the Republican, and Jimmy Carter was the Democrat of that year. And as we do know, Ronald Reagan does become the president in 1980. He wins the 1980 election.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. You're fine. Next, we get something about Michael Carvin. Carvin, I think. Michael Carvin, so this part was kind of true about the Secret Service tackling someone down. Michael Carvin was 20 years old and did actually pretend to shoot Reagan with a toy pistol on November 20th. So that's what that joke was about.
That's funny.
And then he said he was going to make a ruling that all toy pistols were going to be gone. General Franco's death, which I also find kind of funny because Republicans are notorious for fighting about gun rights, but he's going to ban all toy pistols.
Right.
Oh, that was funny. General Franco's death on November 20th is what allowed what I talked about earlier would come back, Juan Carlos to become the king of Spain. So General Franco was a dictator, and when he died, it allowed Spain to come back to get rid of the dictator and become the king. Next, we get a joke about Joe Louis reminding everyone that he had the fastest hands in the West by catching, just because he's holding a missile. Yeah. So, do you know who Joe Louis is? I'm guessing not.
No.
Neither did I. Joe Louis was a boxer from 1934 to 1951. He was known as the Brown Bomber, which they mentioned in the show. Between 1937 and 1949, Joe Louis was boxing's heavyweight champion of the world. He held that title longer and defended it more than any other boxer in history.
Wow.
So that's who Joe Louis was.
I don't like hitting.
I don't mind boxing. I don't watch it often, but I don't mind it. It was really big back then, I would say. It's not super big these days. I think MMA is has kind of taken over. Ironside. They make a joke about Ronald Reagan, of them showing, because we all know that Ronald Reagan was famously an actor before he became president. So they make a joke that they got to do like 20 minutes of a Ronald Reagan film, and then they said something about how that racist dude that was trying to become president, they would show Ironside for him. So I'm not entirely sure, because there's a couple different movies and shows called Ironside, and some of them are way in the past. So I'm not entirely sure which movie they're talking about, but the one that seemed to make the most sense for this joke was a movie called Ironside, which is about a guy paralyzed by a sniper bullet. So I'm guessing it's some kind of assassination joke.
For some reason, I'm thinking.
I assumed that it was something to do with racism, but I could not find an Ironside movie that dealt with racism that I know. Because if you notice, the audience really responds.
Right.
The audience majorly.
I even wrote down. I didn't know what was so funny.
Yeah, they majorly responded to Ironsides, and I didn't understand it, and I couldn't find anything that made sense either. Like I said, the closest thing I come up with.
I typed in Reagan Ironside. It shows it's a show from 1967 to 75. Larry Drake, Officer Reagan's second clerk. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I couldn't figure it out. That was the best thing I could come up with. I believe it was a movie about a guy, a Secret Service agent or something, that was paralyzed by a sniper bullet, and then he still.
Yeah, that's this. Yes.
It was Reagan was in that.
I don't know why it says Reagan. I'm looking.
Because Reagan they were talking about making a clip, like show 20 minutes clips of old Reagan movies. So that's why Reagan got brought up.
This is a show.
Oh, this is a show. It was a show. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but anyways, that's the best thing I could find is a guy paralyzed. So I'm guessing the joke was that.
Yes, that would be my guess.
Assassination. Next we get a joke about Eldridge Cleaver. I'm guessing you don't know who that was. So Eldridge Cleaver was a member of the Black Panthers. You're aware of the Black Panthers, right? In 1968, he became a fugitive after leading an ambush on Oakland police officers, during which 2 officers were wounded. Cleaver was wounded during the clash, and a Black Panther member, Bobby Hutton, was killed. As editor of the official Panthers newspaper, the Black Panther, Cleaver's influence on the direction of the party was rivaled only by founders Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. Cleaver and Newton eventually fell out with each other, resulting in a split that weakened the party. This led to him fleeing the country to avoid getting caught. After spending 7 years in exile in Cuba, Algeria, and France, Cleaver returned to the U.S. in 1975, where he became involved in various religious groups, Unification Church and CARP, before joining the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as well as becoming a conservative Republican, appearing at Republican events. So that's who he was making fun of. Jerry Ford, I believe, is Gerald Ford in more clumsy jokes.
Yes.
Next thing we got. Then we get an electroshock therapy commercial for Spud Beer.
Spud Beer, right?
This actually made me laugh.
I know. I was like, I should not be laughing.
Beer for people who have no taste, who can't tell the difference.
Right?
I loved it. And then I liked that Chevy continued the joke by doing that.
He's like, I like it so much, I poured on myself.
Right. Next thing we get is he talks about Woodstock. Woodstock. So I'm guessing this one was confusing because this one was confusing for me as well.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Okay, so there's some explanation for this.
Okay.
So what's going on here is there was a concert that was called what did he call Woodstock? I can't remember the name of the musical festival they were talking about. It was a musical festival that was the name of what he called Woodstock. Grateful Dead was scheduled to appear, but the Dead had already left the venue, entirely out of concern for their safety, when they learned that Jefferson's Airplane singer, Marty Balin, had been knocked unconscious by the Hells Angels. That's what they were saying Woodstock was one of these Hells Angels.
Okay.
In a melee during his band's performance. It was during the Rolling Stones set, however, that a 21-year-old Hells Angel named Alan Pissarro stabbed a gun-wielding 18-year-old named Meredith Hunter to death just 20 feet in front of the stage where Mick Jagger was performing Under My Thumb.
I know about this.
Yeah. Unaware that someone had died, the Rolling Stones completed their set without further incident, bringing an end to a tumultuous day that also saw 3 accidental deaths and 4 live births.
Yes. I learned about this in my history of music class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in college.
And I'm pretty sure they used Woodstock as this because this was about a musical festival at the same year that Woodstock also came out. And,
yes,
Woodstock.
This was like the bigger festival, right, that like inspired Woodstock.
Yeah. So they kind of just, instead of Woodstock, is this festival.
This was on the West Coast, though. Whereas Woodstock was on the East.
Oh, okay. So anyways, that's what that whole joke was about, is that situation. Hells Angels, bikers, murder.
Yeah.
Fun times. Then we get another hard of hearing thing, which had nothing new to it, which just sucks because I do remember liking this, but they don't do anything different with it.
Right. It's like the same thing. It's like those stupid commercials they keep repeating.
Well, I mean, in fairness, at least this is something different every time. He's saying a different thing every time, so it's not like a complete, like those commercials are literally not redone as a different commercial for the same thing. Those commercials are literally taped for, recording.
Right.
So a little different, but I wish they would take a break and bring it back and people are like, oh yeah, I remember this. I love it. They keep doing it at the same time. One thing I'm noticing, especially with Chevy Chase, is a lot of the stuff, his joke stuff, is repetitive. He does the same thing, just slightly different every time.
I told you last week, he's like a toddler. He does something that he thinks is funny or that somebody laughs at, and then he does the same thing again and again and again. He's like a toddler.
By the way, I want you to keep these members, these hosts, these skits in mind, because at the end of this season, I want us to do a special episode.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you, who was your favorite cast member? Who was your favorite host? What was your favorite episode? What was your favorite sketch?
I've got a notebook, so.
Okay, so when you think of a sketch that you really like, write it down. Then you can just argue.
Who I love. Who's coming up in a couple sketches?
Gilda? Oh, the bees?
The Muppets.
Oh, the Muppets. Which we're not there yet.
I know. I said they're coming up in a couple sketches.
The next thing we get is the Lily Tomlin as someone at, is it Yale, maybe? I can't remember which university.
She's in a sorority, writing a letter to her sorority sister who's not her sister.
Yeah. Patty Hearst. Did you know who Patty Hearst was?
No, but she was like, I'm not allowing you to change your name or something.
Patricia Campbell Hearst, born February 20th, 1954, is a member of the Hearst family and granddaughter of American publishing magnate William Randolph Hearst. She first became known for the events following her 1974 kidnapping by the Symbionese Liberation Army, the SLA. She was found and arrested 19 months after being abducted, by which time she was a fugitive, wanted for serious crimes committed with members of the group. She was held in custody, and there was speculation before trial that her family's resources would enable her to avoid time in prison. At her trial, the prosecution suggested that Hearst had joined the Symbionese Liberation Army of her own volition. However, she testified that she had been raped and threatened with death while held captive. In 1976, she was convicted for the crime of bank robbery and sentenced to 35 years in prison, later reduced to 7 years. Her sentence was commuted by President Jimmy Carter, and she was later pardoned by President Bill Clinton. Not a super funny sketch, in my opinion. Not sure if it's supposed to be. That's who Patty Hearst is. That's who she's talking to, or writing a letter and then singing a song about. I can't tell if you're muted or you just haven't said anything.
I haven't said anything.
Oh, okay. So what were your thoughts on this?
I had no idea the backstory, first of all. So I was a little confused. I was like, is this someone? My thought was because she had said something like, I'm not gonna call you by some, like, whatever this other name was. So I thought maybe it had something to do with like somebody that was going from a girl to being a guy. Like, I thought they were like transitioning.
Oh, you thought it was a transitioning thing.
Yeah, but maybe it's just because it's Pride Month. Like, I was like, so I was coming at it from that, and so I didn't find it funny either. But I was, yeah. Either way, it's a little distasteful.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And the whole thing was people were on her about the fact that she committed this crime, but she essentially she claimed that she was forced to do it.
Right. It's like I have been watching the Menendez brothers case, and I know that like SNL made fun of them during the 90s. So I guess it's always been a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now we get your Muppets.
Yay, Muppets.
Right after that.
Right?
So I will say that I think bringing in a person made this better.
It was funny.
This was the best one so far.
I really liked it. Babe.
And I'm surprised we didn't get the Great Fava. No
I know. I wanted him to be singing in the background.
Yeah. So, by the way, the first person was it Screg? Apparently fell in love with is Fran Allison. Fran Allison. Mm-hmm. She is best known for her starring role on the weekday NBC TV puppet show Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, which ran from 1947 to 1957, occasionally returning to the air until the mid-1980s. The trio also hosted the CBS Children's Film Festival, introducing international children's films from 1967 to 77. Kind of enjoyed this with Scred and Lily Tomlin. Once again, Lily Tomlin singing. But I like the song "I Got You, Babe," and it was kind of fun watching her sing with the puppet. So
it was. I really liked it.
Then we get Lily introducing The Impossible Truth, another repeat, this time of an Al Brooks film. I skipped this because there wasn't anything new. It was from the first episode. What was
Right?
the point of watching it, Then we get more Beethoven. And this was the best one.
Yes.
Singing What Did I Say by Ray Charles. I loved having Gilda and Lorraine joining in the song.
Yes.
This is just fun. I mean, this is just great stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't funny, but it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, it's fun. It was just fun. It's the way I think of it. This next
very
sketch, however,
entertaining.
It may be less fun when you learn stuff about John Belushi. So this next sketch is Lily training people how to be a construction worker. This is a role reversal of women catcalling men instead of men catcalling women. I love this sketch.
It was so good.
I LOL'd quite well with Gilda going boom, ba boom, boom, right behind Dan Aykroyd.
Oh my God. Okay. So there's a father who drops a student off in the morning and he wears some tight dress pants. And I enjoy the view.
Fair enough.
And my coworkers,
this is on
they
the
laugh
internet
about
now,
it. It's out there.
Yeah.
I enjoy the view. So anyway, my son's teacher, who is also one of my coworkers, was in the room, and I was like, "Hey, scooch out of the way." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "You're ruining my view." And she's like, "You're married. That is not okay." It's like, "Girl, please. I'm enjoying the view." That's what it reminded me of. But at least I keep my mouth shut.
Oh my.
But if you're gonna wear it, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So apparently, a little bit of background on this. Apparently, Belushi was supposed to be the man in the sketch over Dan Aykroyd.
Oh.
However, apparently he refused to do sketches that utilized his body. He did not want to be wearing those clothes. He also refused to work with Tomlin.
Oh, why?
Apparently, it's well known that Belushi didn't like working with women and didn't find them funny. I guess he was, for the most part, civil with the other women cast members, but anytime a woman host came about, he got funky.
Really?
Actually, which is weird because I find it weird that he did the B thing with Candice Bergen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess he did not like working with women. He was kind of sexist, which is sad.
That is sad.
I guess there's also some stuff about Lily Tomlin was kind of. I guess a lot of the women on the show, or the writers, were excited to work with Lily Tomlin because they thought with a woman on the show, they would get to do more. And that was not the case. Lily Tomlin did not want to do their stuff.
Aww.
So, but I guess he didn't like Tomlin and didn't like a lot of women comedians to begin with. So sad to know because I always liked John Belushi.
Right? I had no idea.
The next sketch we get is the Speed commercial. I like this.
It was funny.
It was funny. I guess it's based on the fact that it was well known back in those days that housewives would take speed to try to get through their day. So I guess that's what this is making fun of. And yeah, I laughed. It was simple, but it was funny. It was funny. Next, we get the Lily stand-up where she's like a 50s or a 60s poodle hat girl or poodle skirt girl.
She was so good. I know you're like, I hated it, right?
I hated it.
Her acting was so good. Like, first of all, I know a million people who just will talk your ear off like that. You don't even get a word in edgewise, okay? And she was so good. Like her facial expressions, like when the guy came in, like it was. I was like, girl, you are good.
Look, I'm not saying she's a bad actress or anything. I just don't like the whole one-man show sketch or whatever, which one-woman show. You know, like
Yeah.
what she's doing is just she's doing all the acting herself.
Yeah, and I didn't really enjoy the content. I was very impressed with her. Like her acting was so good. It was like you believed her. Like I felt like I was stuck listening to someone who wouldn't shut up.
Which is fair, and I get it. I get it, but I just didn't. I don't like those type of sketches.
Okay, that's fair.
I felt
I love how we like opposites.
I thought it would have worked a lot better. Why don't you just make that a sketch with the other actors? You have those primetime performers. Just put that in a sketch. Like, why do you need to be by yourself doing this one woman show?
That's true. When you have the big cast there.
Yeah, I didn't mind so much the girl on the skates thing.
Right.
I didn't mind. I mean, I still wasn't big on it, but I didn't mind that as much because I got that better. And it was just like the thoughts of a young girl. So that was a one person thing. But there was, she was on the ice. She was, doing the whole thing. It's not like that little girl was talking to other people.
Right.
But those people aren't there. That one made sense to me to be by herself. This one, literally, she's talking to people. Why aren't they in the sketch? Why? This is not meant to be some weird. Which, mind you, this is early. They can be whatever they want. They're still learning.
But it would have been funnier if there were other people in there. I understand that.
And you could have probably still really thought the acting was great.
Yeah.
If there was someone else she was acting to. But yeah, I wasn't. Yeah. I didn't like the. And like I said, I think it's just that one man show type of style that I didn't like. So I don't know if I blame Tomlin about that or just I don't like that type of thing.
Right.
And I mean, I get that seems like something that you would do in like an acting class. Okay, you have to do this part without working with someone else. Like this is a training exercise.
Or like an audition tape.
Or like an audition tape. But as an actual sketch, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Why would you do that as a sketch? So I had like mixed feelings. Like there's some good stuff in this episode. Mm-hmm. But I had mixed feelings because of Tomlin and some of the stuff she did. So it could be I just don't like Lily Tomlin. I don't know.
Could be. But that's fair. I just like Chevy Chase.
I'm trying to think of, is there any, because I've complained about all of her stuff by herself. I also complained about her doing the sorority sister, but that was also mostly her by herself. At least that one made sense for her by herself, I guess. But I don't have as big of an issue of that as I do with this. Was she in any sketches that I liked? I'm trying to remember all the sketches, and I'm not sure she was in a sketch that I liked. And a lot of the stuff she was in was by herself. She wasn't in the Beethoven stuff. Bit? I did like that. She did great in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one sketch. One sketch she was in that I liked.
Yeah.
And I can't even take anything away. It's not like I can look at that sketch and be like, well, I liked everyone else but her on there. She was great in the sketch. She worked well in that sketch. But she's also working with everyone else. She's not by herself.
I think you probably would have liked the last one if she was with other people. Because it was
maybe. I might have liked that a lot better if there was a people to bounce off of. I refuse to start a podcast on my own without a co-host because I don't want to work off myself. I'm not acting. I'm
Right?
just doing a
You
podcast.
don't like the whole just talking to yourself.
No, I don't need self-masturbatory stuff. I prefer having someone to bounce off of.
Right?
So yeah. And then in the end we get the bees. Bebopping. Bebopping bees.
Bebop.
Possibly my least favorite other than the first.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the bees ending.
The bees wasn't
I
as
like the
funny.
bees.
It wasn't funny. It was just them bebopping.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the joke is that they're bees bebopping. So
I think that's the joke, yes.
ha,
With
ha,
the nurse
ha.
band.
Buzz, buzz, ha ha. But yeah, there wasn't really much to the bees this time. Actually, that's two disappointing bees because I wasn't big on the bicentennial either. So maybe we need to take a step back on the bees.
A bee break.
A bee break. Yes, we need a bee break. So yeah, I wasn't big on the bees, is what I'm trying to say.
I also wasn't big on the bees.
But overall, I did like this episode.
I did too.
Even with the Lily Tomlin of it all. I mean, I'm pretty happy about this. I was a little worried based on what you told me your husband said that you were not going to enjoy Saturday Night Live at all. I thought we were going to be
right,
very opposed views.
But I find
and we have
funny.
had opposed views, but you seem to enjoy Saturday Night Live. I feel like it only gets better.
I know Matthew asked me today. He's like, "Do you enjoy watching it?" I was like, "I do. Some of it's funny. Some of it is very perplexing."
See, that is one argument I've always had when people try to argue, "Oh, the stuff's not funny these days," and then they'll find one thing. Well, every once in a while it's funny. But here's the thing: that's kind of the way Saturday Night Live. I'm going through it now. That's how it's been from the beginning. Some of it's really funny. A lot of stuff that just doesn't work as well. It's always
and there are
been,
times literally where you think it's hilarious and I'm like, no, and you're like, ugh, and I think it's hilarious. So clearly somebody thinks everything's funny. You just one person doesn't think everything's funny.
Right.
It's a variety show. They give you a variety of things for a variety of people.
It is. And I'm sorry, I apparently forgot to do all the pictures today.
Oh, I totally didn't even notice. Oh well.
I had pictures set up, but I forgot. Yeah, I had pictures made up, but I didn't get them ready for this. I normally do it before I get on, and then I didn't really have a lot of time before my whole schedule kind of got out of whack today, so I didn't get it set up beforehand. I guess we could have just started a little later.
Maybe you can insert them.
I could do that. Maybe I will. We'll see. But
I don't know how much work that is.
It's work, but it's not like it's not out of the realm of possibilities of something I can do. In fact, I used to do it all the time.
I gotta go.
You're getting tired?
I am tired.
Well, that's okay. We are finished.
All right, yay.
We finished the show.
Yes, that's funny.
Do you want to plug your one thing?
My one thing, because I suck at this job, is Facebook.
Yeah.
And I sometimes check it. I should probably check
she has a fan page. Lorne Michaels will
yes, that's
SNL
right. I
podcast.
need to make some other type of page.
Yeah,
I totally forgot until just now.
Well, you can find me at Dragon Blazer Productions on the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, the TikTok.
Share.
Like and share. All the things. Yeah, all the things. But we're having a lot of fun doing this.
It is fun.
I'm enjoying this a lot. It's given me an excuse to watch all the old episodes I've never seen. I can't remember how far I got. There was a time in my life I tried to watch the originals from the beginning, and I forget where I ended up. I think it was the second or third season I ended off. But I wasn't doing it weekly. I wasn't watching
Right.
doing a podcast with it. I was just kind of trying to watch it here and there. But yeah.
Sorry. Yawn.
It's all right. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna well, this is our shortest episode. We're only on here for 55 minutes. Well, I didn't have any videos to add to this one because the commercials we had were, I mean, I don't think there was a separate commercial for Speed, or they were making fun of Speed, so there wasn't a commercial there. The other one was the try opening that you got that. That wasn't really a parody commercial, and it was already a repeat.
Seen it before.
And we've seen it before, so there wasn't a lot. Like normally, I have some extra videos for us to watch, and we didn't have anything like that this time. I didn't find anything that would have been good to show. I'm sure we'll have more later. Next week we have Richard Pryor on the menu.
Yay! I'm so excited to hear his stuff.
I'm excited as well. I've watched stand up for Richard Pryor. And he's got some good stuff. To my understanding, I mean, I haven't seen a lot, but he seems to be a funny dude. So, but I've also heard there's a lot of stuff about the next episode. So I haven't heard what the stuff is. I'm waiting to watch the episode, and then I'll do my research and I'll find out then. But yeah, so Richard Pryor next week. But
sorry, I'm yawning. It's
so all right. Well, so long and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Thanks. I will. Good night.